Okay, viewers, this is VOND, Dr. James VOND speaking, and it's Wednesday, 18th of March, 2026. And earlier I made a video today, and in that video I was discussing the fact that in this particular government administration, that I've lost my car, a second-hand car, a Peugeot 207 SW estate, due to affordability issues, etc., when it failed MOT on May 2025. And I mentioned it had failed power steering, and also it failed on the suspension offside, including shockers and a offside suspension. And it's just not feasible to repair, not on my minimal income thrashing. So I had to sell it for scrap, and I've been without a car. I also lost my mother, which was even worse, obviously. I lost my mother last year. She died at a care home where she's been held captive at the Hillfields care home in Balsall Common, Solihull district, about 7 miles from Birmingham Airport, or BHX Airport. So I lost to her as well. And in the previous government, I was mentioning I lost my council house, my family council house, my mother's family council house. And I was rendered homeless since 26th of April 2023. But I was offered supported housing in May 2024 when I got discovered or found by the JCT workers, the Jesus Centre, based in Lamb Street. A Romanian guy by the name of Aurelian, and 2 or 3 local women as well. And they found me sleeping within my car, parked next to the Britannia Hotel, my usual spot for sleeping overnight, etc. But not all the time. That was for the last few months, but I've been in other places as well, outside the country as well as for day trips, and even in other towns I've slept in my car overnight or some other sort of location nearby. So I've got just offered supported housing since May 2024. That's what I've got to mention. Under this government, I haven't had anything really speaking, nothing extra offered to me. I've only lost my car, and my mother died as well under this government at a care home. So that's tragic things under this administration. During this time, during their reign, of course. And I'm in Hillfields right now, by the way. This is not far from Vine Street where I used to live. It's just a street or two away from where I used to live. I don't always shop here, but obviously it can be a bit rough up here as well. So this is where I used to kind of live, and this is the area or the catchment, Hillfields area, or St. Peter's, as sometimes I call it, or St. Michael's district of Coventry. Anyway, so I was removed from my house, council house, worth 200,000 pounds, and my mother was removed initially. Obviously, that's what started everything. The consequences, the repercussions, were all from her removal on the 24th of November, 2021, and then me further down the line, I was removed, like I said, on the 26th of April 2023 by Coventry County Court orders on behalf of Citizen Housing Group based in Birmingham. So obviously that's previous government, but this government, like I said, my mother died at a care home and my car failed its MOT, and I'm still at supported housing. I haven't really got good offer for supported housing. Only at one location this year, that was at Wood End, an isolated area, which isn't good for me because I don't have any transport. My car's not here with me, so I've got to mention that. And it would have been my mother's 83rd birthday today if she was around. And she used to do shopping up here in this area, local area. This was her familiar territory. It was her house. She was the main tenant responsible for paying for the house rent, and they removed her. That's why they served her a notice to quit because she wasn't living there or she wasn't returned to her house. The care homes literally abducted her, snatched her, and obviously they're getting money for that when they're getting to keep someone like that. And I have also been imprisoned, I've got to mention, for going back to my kids. See my kids when I was ordered out from there through the Coventry family courts back in April 2016. So they've removed me as well. And that's how I ended up at my granny's house, or my mother's house, who was a grandmother. I was told I could live there. And that's where I completed my probation successfully. And I did some work there as a van driver as well for DPD based in Hinckley. And I worked at also Hermes and OCS Worldwide, multi-drop delivery driver in the last two. That is a multi-drop delivery driver for DPD based in Hinckley and Hermes. OCS, I used to remember going all the way to Heathrow Airport as well, doing a delivery there, all the way from Coventry. Those were my van driving days, of course. And that was all at Vine Street when I was living at my mother's house where I could live, where I was told I could live. And I was completing my probation there successfully. And I got domestic violence training there. I completed that as well. So that was my stay. After COVID, of course, they snatched Granny out of the house. Like I said, 24th of November 2021. And then 3 months down the line, 24th of February 2022, the crisis in Ukraine and Russia escalated, if you can recall. I don't know if it's got anything to do with mother or granny. She wasn't returned back home. They decided to keep her at the care homes, which obviously jeopardised my stay there ultimately. They served me a notice to, not notice to quit, but to an eviction orders. I tried frantically to get myself on a tenancy agreement as successor, as next of kin, and I had every right to do so, but they never did that. They never allowed me on as a successor. They couldn't take it. That was a 3-bedroom house that I was going to inherit. That's how envious they became, because I was only one person, and they couldn't tolerate me with a 3-bedroom house. An old house, a 3-bedroom house, a big deal, and my mother had it all the time. I mean, for 40 years she's been paying rent there until they removed her from the house over an instant with an inexperienced young care worker that she wasn't familiar with. So that's why they were jealous. Obviously, they didn't want to give me that house, put me down as successor, because they didn't want me with a 3-bedroom house to myself with front and rear gardens. So they decided to be vile and issue me eviction orders, and I had to leave that house, and I had nowhere else to go to, and I had to sleep rough in my car, which I managed to get in the nick of time from an estranged brother or something. I managed to get it from him. I paid him off slowly, but I did pay for that car completely. Although it did have faults, like I said, with the power steering, and also later on it failed on the MOT with the offside suspension as well. So I had no choice but to scrap it. I think I'll end this video now. I think I've said quite a bit today. So I'm on my own, obviously. I'm 56 years old, a heterosexual single man in supported housing in Coventry. I'm still bidding on the Coventry Home Finder, and that's got to be mentioned. That's a pure letdown. In fact, that's horrendous, that Coventry Home Finder. That's the problem, one of the sources of the problems. In addition to citizen housing being nasty, taking the house off us, they then put me down on successor. It's also their fault, Country Home Finder, that not giving me a suitable accommodation urgently enough. And even though I was on raised band 2 priority for 56 days, they never offered me anything in that space of time, 56 days. I didn't get anything, not even a bed sit, not even a bungalow or a share room in a house. That's how pathetic and a letdown they were. And even to this day, I'm still bidding on the Country Home Finder for my own place because I'm only in supported housing, like I said, and I'm not getting anywhere. I've been on the Country Home Finder for at least a decade, probably. If you go back to the old days when I started originally bidding on that, it's such a useless system, the Country Home Finder. Even if you're on band 2 priority, and I'm on band 2 priority again, and I'm not getting anywhere with that. Only one offer this year, and that's the first time ever they've offered me anything. Incidentally, a year after my mother's death as well, they offered me a place in Wood End, an isolated place. And obviously, I don't have transport, I can't get out and about with, and I don't want to be cut off like that from there. So I refused it. Obviously, I've been patient all this time, so I'd rather wait a little bit more and make a better decision than regret it. So that's the housing system prices as well. Obviously, lack of resources, and like I said, even when I was rented homeless, I didn't have access to a camper van, for instance, improvised or otherwise. The best I could muster is just the Peugeot 207 SW Estate, which unfortunately failed MOT last year. So limited resources and not a very helpful city, I would say, to be living in. I wouldn't really boast about it, personally speaking. But I'm not sure how it's like for overseas people. For overseas people, they've got extra rights, you see, under the Home Office. Refugees, for instance, they can actually get hotel accommodation if they can't find anywhere else. And they obviously change your bed sheets there. You get room service there as well in hotels. I wasn't offered that at all when I was rented homeless. They could have easily did that. So put me at the Britannia or even the sister branch at the Royal Court Hotel in Kersley. It wouldn't have cost them that much compared to housing benefit. How much they pay in housing benefit and other places that you could stay at. So they've let me down anyway. They should have been a bit more flexible then. That's the previous government, but this government inherited whatever the previous government was and doing. And they haven't really improved my circumstances at all. Like I said, I've been once or twice to Europe on the continent, and they were scornful there, and it was a very bad experience at Eurotunnel, the shuttle in Folkestone. I was obviously profiled for being single and going out on a holiday for a day trip out of the country, and it's almost like you know, with those uniforms on, you rather not see them with those uniforms. That scene in Diamonds or Forever when he's talking about Moneypenny with that uniform. Who would want to leave the country? It's almost like that. You're almost jailers up here, innit? Imprisoned. You can't leave the bloody country. Your freedom, innit? So we are kind of almost like prisoners here in the country. If not financially, obviously monetary value prisoners on the local side of things, on the national side of things, with little resources. We are kind of prisoners here, even if we're doing social media, even people like me doing social media. And there are people who've made money on social media. People like, Bonnie Blue, that porn actress. Although she's been in trouble with the law recently, I think she was doing an act outside the Indonesian embassy after her arrest there when she was in Indonesia. And she was, under some sort of public offence, obviously, doing that. But she gets a lot of money. She's been very successful, and she's had a lot of men. She's well sexed, obviously, very excessively, and they paid her as well, a sex worker almost, like probably more than a sex worker, and a porn star, Bonnie Blue, UK based, UK born. And she's not that tall anyway. She's went to universities as well and on campus and had sex with students as well and boasted about it. She's been boasting about how many number of men she's had sex with. So she is a kind of controversial personality, but she's got a lot of money out of it. Not people like me who don't get money out of anything. You know, even for going on holidays, day trips to the continent, we get scornful remarks. Just like the opposite, you know, like Hugh Grant, for instance, when he got caught, remember? When he was in Los Angeles with that prostitute or sex worker, Divine Brown. Obviously, he knew that in Los Angeles state, you can't do that. And it was the publicity stunt, obviously. Only in Nevada state is it legal to have sex with sex workers. Everyone knows that. And he deliberately did it in Los Angeles to raise the stakes, you know, and obviously Hollywood being in Los Angeles, etc., the film industry. So I think that was all publicity. You know, when he was making those films, 4 weddings and a funeral, or was it four funerals and a wedding? That raised his profile. So that's what I'm talking about anyway. And like Bonnie Blue as well. But me, on the other hand, I get the opposite reaction. And that people don't want to depart with their money or, you know, be that generous to me. They're not really, you know, remorseful or, you know, even courteous enough to you know, pay some money towards me. A struggling guy, you know, on finances, barely surviving, and the welfare is obviously inadequate. Like I said, it's just about, it doesn't even cover the cost of food, yet alone anything else. So I'm not getting that extra help. My mother would have helped me out if she was around, almost certainly. She died, obviously, and they're probably waiting for me for my hair to go all white and drop. You know, obviously I'm losing some hair on the top as well. That's what they're like, you know, almost like that geriatrics kind of thing, you know. But like I said, you know, some people have done it, like Bonnie Blue, even though she's controversial. They are controversial people. Even Hugh Grant was controversial, but they've made the money. That's the big point here. Whereas people like me get the scornful treatment, and we don't get any money paid to us. We get criticised, scorned, and where's our money? My money, you know. And why ain't people donating to me and viewing me? And they can't tolerate me, my manhood. Why are they tolerating those people's manhood? There's something wrong there, obviously. And they couldn't tolerate me with a house, a council house, a 3-bedroom house. You know, they're ridiculous, ludicrous to beyond belief. You know, it's more than just a shame. It's more than just a disgrace. And that's about it, really. So do help. You know, send some money over, donate as much as you can, and don't forget my house has been snatched, and my car also has been scrapped, and my mother died last year, unfortunately and sadly, where she's being held at a care home. It's just me now, no one else to help me, and only my viewers there can help me. My supporters, my fans, if there are any generous people out there. I don't seem to have that, do I? Anyway, VOND, Dr. James VOND, on 18th of March 2026 in Hillfields, Coventry, close to the Coventry city centre.